And it says you are live. Hello.
Hi.
Anybody tuning in with me and Discover Me TV? I'm Jordan Toronto, and today I am here with Dominic Matas.
Hi,
I think I
everybody. Yes, perfect.
and he can tell you more too, but singer, dancer, choreographer, man who was in one of the extraordinary show choir my son's part of now, and now choreographs for it and several others, I think. Um,
Yes.
he's the man around town to go to if you want really interesting, awesome theatrical show choir choreography people. So tell me a little bit about, I guess, how you got to where you are today from being a show choir kid yourself, I guess.
Sure. Well, I guess I should start like even before that because this is actually a story I love to tell
Yay.
any and all of my students. Kayla knows this story. I've told this story to all the Burroughs kids. Like,
Right.
so my mom was in choir in high school. She went to Burroughs. So I'm like legacy from
I
there.
was going
She,
to
she
say,
was
sorry now, legacy.
Yeah, she was with Mary Rago for I think a year or two when she went to Burroughs. And when I was in middle school at Jordan, we had to do the like you fill out, your electives and like your classes for the next year in the spring. So I remember being in sixth grade. We were at the Buena Vista Library, and she said, "Oh, you should do choir. I heard the choir at Jordan's really good. I was in choir in high school, and I remember being just very skeptical about it and very kind of like resistant. I was like, I don't like singing, that's not my thing, even though I would do it, around the house and, you know, had like
Was
a
there
bunch
anything
of,
else that was your thing at the time more? Like, were
I,
you?
I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, didn't like the idea of like joining a choir. I don't know. And maybe it was like the kids I was hanging out with were like, oh, choir's lame, whatever. But I remember
Right.
being really resistant to it. And then seventh grade rolls around, same thing, and she kind of says, hey, you should think about this. This could be really fun. You like to do this. You like to dance. They do dancing. And I'm just like, no, no, I don't want to do it. And finally, like maybe the last month of school in my seventh grade year, all the electives were like trying to recruit people. They had their ASB, the choir, the band, all these things, had all these tables set up outside the cafeteria. And a mutual friend of mine, in my group of friends, we had one boy, his name was James. He was already in choir, and he was trying to recruit. It's like, hey, you guys, to my group of friends, you guys should all join choir. And we were all like, no, like we're not doing it. Like, oh, we're not, never went to go see him in it. We all, we hardly even knew he was, doing that sort of thing. And
I was going to say,
he
did you see the shows? Not really. Like, you didn't even go to them,
no
really.
had no like recollection of even when the high schools would come to the middle schools to like promote their own shows. Like, had no recollection. Sixth and seventh grade year. And finally, he just said, yeah, it's probably too hard for you guys anyway. You guys probably couldn't do it. And so we took that as, it's like calling us chicken. And so we took that as like, all right, well, we're going
Going
to sign up
on.
then. Game on. Yeah, exactly. And so we signed up, and, we were meant to go through this whole audition and, all that stuff. Never did it because, wasn't really serious about it. Just signed up because he said that I wouldn't, and I did, but I didn't do any of the process. And then come to my surprise, coming to school in August of my eighth grade year, I have choir on my schedule. And I was like, wait, this was a joke. Why did they actually put me in choir? And so, but at that point, after having like, my mom and, one ear saying like, this could be really fun for you. And, obviously my, a good friend of mine saying this could be really fun for you. I was like, okay, well, let's see kind of how it goes. And, I walked into the choir room, Krista Moore, who was, the teacher up until last year for, 20 odd years, was there at the door, greeted us, all the, these boys in their boys choir, and literally just said, say hello to me. And I said, hello. And, whatever high pitched voice, I had, and she's like, all right, you're going to go sit over here. You're an alto. And I was like, what did you just call me?
What did they just call me?
And, so
Mm.
Fast forward into that year, you know, we start working on choreography with Jen Stanley, who was the choreographer back then, who's now, you know, like the queen of, you know, sound sensations at Burroughs. And the show choir bug, I got bit by the show choir bug is what we like to call it.
And you never went back.
And I never went back, and, you know, went through the Burroughs choirs. And I think, you know, getting to your question now, how I got started like choreographing and stuff, it was my junior year. I think Jen Stanley, who was choreographing at Burroughs, and Jordan still as well, noticed, you know, I was like in the musicals, and obviously a couple years in Powerhouse at that point, and asked me if I would maybe consider, you know, assisting her after I graduated, you know, just kind of putting that in my head, like, oh, you know, you could come back and help with sound waves, or, you know, just with some random things after you graduate. And I was like, yeah, that could be really fun. And it wasn't until that point that I had even really considered it. And to be honest, I don't know, like at this point now, I don't really know what else I would have been doing with my life if I hadn't had that, you know, put in my brain.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so then, you know, senior comes and goes, and, you know, helping with the audition dance and, you know, all that stuff. I end up not going away to school, end up going to Glendale Community College. So I, you know, be around, and, you know, I reach out to Mr. Moore and I say, hey, I'm going to be around. Do you need some help? You know, because at that point, Jen Stanley just had her first baby and was stepping back from, you know, doing Jordan. I was like, hey, do you need help? I know that, you know, Jen is leaving. You know, I could help with the boys choir, the one that I was in. Like, you know, I would love to come back and help. And that, you know, just kind of snowballed into working at Burroughs after a couple of years, and then making a decision to make this my career. And then from there, you know, working with all the show choirs, you know, here in Southern California that I work with, and then, you know, in other states. And it's been a whirlwind.
And now, I mean, the boy who said, I would never, whatever, do it on a dare, essentially, is now show choir famous, like quite literally, to use the little term that was then, to let any of my non-show choir peeps that might be watching, which maybe is no one right now, but anyone might be happening upon us in a replay. Yeah, like there's anyway, Dominic is just part of like this show choir world here in Southern California that is quite astounding, that is so much more than because the funny thing is, my history is that my husband did show choir in high school, and we met in college, and I made fun of show choir, and now the universe is laughing at me because I am now I am being shown, like, you know, what show choir can be. And this is like just this is the kind of like middle school and high school performances that are just beautifully created theatrical, like pieces of art that are not people in cummerbunds just step touching.
Yes, exactly.
As my husband did very, very well, I'm sure, in high school. the choice few, but it's always so cute. This show choir world has become my world too as a mom, and I think like the universe is giggling at me, like, yeah, you make fun of it.
Those tables have turned so quickly.
I know, right? Exactly. Which is like, that's you too. You were like, I'm not gonna do that until okay, maybe it's my career and, you know, something I love, probably. More than
it's the joke I always make is like my livelihood is literally based on a dare post, you know, in 7th grade. Like that's the entire story.
Yeah. So I guess here's some lessons. Careful what you know, what dares you take in 7th grade. And also,
it's true.
Also, though, let life kind of fall where it may, because honestly, stories like this, I love your story. I love hearing about how you're like, I didn't even think I would ever do it, much less then continue to do it, much less than help out and then start to choreograph for it and then make it my career. And then, because sometimes I feel like, especially kids are told like, okay, you have to prepare for the future of what, you know, what do you think you're going to do? And it's like, so much of life is going to happen wonderfully between wherever you are and wherever you're going to be. And you can't predict a lot of things that are actually going to mean the world to you.
It's true.
Which, you know, also, I think I never knew part of that, like the universe laughing at me, is like, it's, you know, it took my own kids being a mom, which I knew I wanted be a mom, but I don't know if I ever knew just how significant it would be in my life, and how much it would bring to my life that I didn't have before, and and so isn't that an interesting thing that we can't always?
It absolutely is, and going off of what you said about kids are always told, I was the same. They're like, prepare for your life and make sure you like go to college and you're doing this thing that like is gonna make you money, and you have to like it's got to be so planned out, and the whole, I mean, that's a whole nother discussion about colleges and that whole thing, but
Right.
I mean, I totally agree that if a kid at 16 or 17 is like passionate about something, they're why not push that for them, something that makes them happy, that could make them money.
Yes.
But maybe is more fulfilling for them, as opposed to a desk job, or not to poo-poo anyone that has a desk job. I'm sure they feel very fulfilled, but like
money might, but it's not necessarily. Oh, my mom is a teacher too. My mom always has some wise thing to say. Welcome, Dominic. I love your story. When I taught fourth grade. Oh, wait, she would always tell the kids that they could do anything they want. What are you passionate about? That's what she would say. And yeah, I've heard a quote, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's something about how we don't need, I'm going to have to find it, and I'm going to post it in the link under, I'm going to post it in the description below. But it was something like, we need more people that just do what lights them up, and like, and let them figure out how to make a life out of that, rather than to like do something prescribed that they think is what they're supposed to be doing. We need more people who are just like lit up and passionate, and then they will contribute to the world, and absolutely. I love that. Oh man, I love that. I love that story. And now like you're doing something that your kid self could not have ever predicted, right?
It's really kind of crazy. Like I said, I don't really know, and it's kind of a scary thought in a sense that like I don't really know what I would be doing had I not kind of taken that leap of faith back when I was 12. But it really has just been the most fulfilling and rewarding thing I could have asked for. I truly feel like I live that quote, like, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And that's, it really is that. And even in the frustrating times, there's always those little bits of light that kind of come through, especially in this time. I'll share, I got a text from the new Jordan choir director, because I still work at Jordan, and she said, we didn't have rehearsals this week because we did filming, and so now we're in the editing process of all the Christmas stuff. And I was asking her about something, and she said, "Oh, me and the kids really missed you this week. One of them said, 'Oh, is Dominic gonna come say hi before the winter break?'" And it like broke my heart. I was like, it's only been a week, or it's been a couple weeks because of Thanksgiving, but like, I log in with them, and half the time I feel like they don't want to be there, but then it's just it's the one message of like,
somebody notices if you're there or not there, right?
Yeah. And so it's moments like that really keep me going, and get me through kind of the rougher times, especially in the last better of a year. But yeah, you can
feel so despairing. And and yet you're still creating, right? You're still, and I was going to say, maybe we can put a little bit here. We could cut to this thing. Sure. Because he was part of creating this amazing, so this high school where my son goes and where he choreographs and went, John Burroughs, here in Burbank, they always do something called Burroughs on Broadway, and Bob for short. And it's the musical theater nerd in me that loves this. This is one of my favorite shows that they do. All the musical stuff. And anyway, so then they still did it this year. They still did it, and they put it out on Kayla's birthday, by the way, my kid's birthday. And
that's cool.
It was. He turned 16 and got to watch Bob. Like,
yes, that's right. I do remember that. I remember everyone in the chat saying, "Happy birthday, Kayla!" Yes.
I know, so cool. So that was super fun. So they put that out, and it was this incredible, like, all pre-recorded, all edited together thing that was like Almost. I mean, it was its own incredible creation, which took probably in some ways more effort than even putting something up on a stage, which is
In a
pretty
weird sense, yes. In a weird sense,
Yes,
you
I
know.
mean, that's tricky to say because it's pretty unbelievable, hardworking, incredible stuff that goes up on that stage too, live. But it was quite a wonder. And so here was your baby, Brotherhood of Man, right? From
Yes.
How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. I love it. Your story is like how to become a show choir choreographer without really
trying. Exactly. It's perfect.
That's perfect. And so I'm gonna see if I can just grab a little bit here. I'm gonna share my screen. Wait, let me see if I can do this. Oh wait. Yeah, wait, no, don't do that, Jordan. Don't do that. Hang on. Okay, so I'm gonna share the screen and we're gonna just watch a little clip of it.
Sure.
And entire screen. Let's see, Brotherhood of Man. Sorry.
That's fine. Take my copy.
I love it. Here, wait. What if I do this?
There it is.
Can you see that?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Oh, whoops. I messed it up. Hang on. Did I stop sharing it?
Yeah, I can still hear it though.
Okay, hang on. Jordan, do better.
See if I remember the choreography.
Oh, geez, Jordan. Oh, here comes Brooke.
Oh, she's so amazing.
And this is what men at work, all guys except Brooke.
Oh, yes. Part of that elite group of ladies.
Yes. Oh, no, here. Yeah. Oh, fun. Yes. All these guys finding a white wall to dance in front of us.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did you edit this too?
I did edit this all together myself.
Yes! Sister. I love it. Yay.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, it's so fun.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so awesome.
So fun to put together with those boys. They're always just the best. It's just so much energy.
Oh my gosh. And then last year, they did this incredible like fast food set that was like, I don't know if you called it, did it have a name? But it was like,
oh gosh. I think we titled the show Burger Man. It was the opening number, the ZZ Top song. I think we called it Burger Man to kind of, stretch the gamut of all, or I guess 3 kind of popular fast food restaurants. But yeah.
Oh, so everybody, all of their guys were in like McDonald's, Burger King, and In-N-Out. outfits, I guess, uniforms.
It's kind of weird to call them costumes because that's like their uniforms.
Yeah, and it was costumes, and it was so delightful, and boy, were they never disappoint. And then this one
really
as the magnificent Brooke, he was also just a sophomore, like my son, and
it's crazy. It's so incredible, you know, how much younger I feel like the talent keeps getting better, but the kids keep getting younger. Like, you know, they're like, oh, yeah, it's a weird, I don't know what's happening.
That's incredible. Oh, well, they're discovering it younger than you did, or something that they really loved.
I suppose so. I
don't know. That's true, but I love that. But it's also your eye for what, who you got, what you got, like what they're good at, what they love, that I think makes a huge difference too. You know what you can craft with the fun. But I'm sure there's also surprises, new freshmen come in and you're like, oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Look what I got this year.
Yeah. I mean, that's, speaking of the Burger Man show, like it was totally, I don't want to say happen. I want to say like clairvoyance. I don't know what it was, but Kaylor as the soloist in their ballad, which was this VeggieTales song.
Oh my gosh! And as a freshman that year,
yeah, as a freshman, and crushed it. Just completely crushed it. And oftentimes, yes, we like pick shows for the kids that we have, but at that point, I didn't work with Kaylor. I didn't know him. I knew he was very talented, but it was just kind of like, this kid's perfect for it. And he, it was so well, just like everything happened just the way it needed to.
I love it. Just things like came into,
seems to be a running theme in my life for whatever reason. Things just
falling into cool stuff, like amazing, like, or sort of, just at this point, you're probably pretty good at just being like, I bet it'll work out. I don't know.
I like to think I'm a bit of an optimist, sometimes to a fault, but oftentimes it's like, you know what, we're gonna roll with it and see what happens.
I think that's so good, because here's the thought. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of a cheeseball optimist too, who sometimes I think that's probably in the household. People are like, just let us complain. I can certainly complain too, plenty. So I don't know. But there are I do think here, one thing I always rail against, just people saying, don't get your hopes up. I'm like, what? Why not? What is it that is going to, like, you get your hopes up, you feel good, you feel excited about something, and it may make it work better for you, or you may be disappointed. But guess what? I swear you will be disappointed even if you didn't get your hopes up as much. So I always say, put your hopes up about, like, I feel like, why not? I don't know. Like, at least have the time that your hopes were up if you're going to ultimately be disappointed by something.
Right. If you have the choice to be happy, why wouldn't you choose that?
Right. And I think we do that sort of, I don't know if that's sort of like a societal habit of like, oh, just be careful, like wait for the other shoe to drop, or don't get your hopes up. All this notion that's like, be careful being happy. And I'm like, no, I don't like that.
Right.
Be careful about your happiness and your hope. Definitely just keep your hopes up. And oftentimes, I'm one who's like, you know what, like, especially when it is like about an audition or doing something or performance, I'm like, your belief that it could go well is never going to be a problem.
Right. It doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't hurt anybody to have a positive outlook, I think.
I don't think so either. And maybe optimists unite here.
Yes, optimists.
Yeah, I love it. Well, so wait, here I am going to, I have put a few little things here at the beginning of the new series called Questions from the Hat. So I'm going to ask you one of these. It's either by me or this guy, Chris, who has helped me produce Discover Me TV, or by one of the kids, I think. I can't remember, but there's a few things in here, but whatever it is, I feel like it'll be right for you today. Let's see. What is, this is mine. What is your favorite childhood memory?
Oh, that's a good one.
Good.
Gosh,
or a favorite childhood memory, maybe.
Sure. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to try to say something that isn't show choir. I think, because that's most of them. I would think, honestly, one of my favorite childhood memories is going to the beach with my dad. He would,
Oh,
I would see him every weekend, and we would go to the beach sometimes, and that was like just so fun. We'd spend 8 hours at the beach, just
wow.
boogie boarding, and just the fond memories of the we joke about it now, the soggy sandwiches that we would have, because we would have a whole bunch of sandwiches he would make and put in this cooler, but we wouldn't eat for
Hours later.
4 or 5 hours, so they'd be getting
Oh,
moist, like gross in the cooler, and we come back, and we eat these soggy
super
sandwiches.
soggy sandwiches. I love
you know
it. Oh, that's nice. I
yeah,
love
that's definitely one of my favorites for sure.
growing up a Southern California kid, right? Uh,
Yes, true.
yeah.
Tried and true.
I know, because my kids, well, first of all of them were born in Pennsylvania, and they all lived in freezing cold snow. And my mom, who is watching right now, has just had her power out for like 2.5 days in Ohio right now, because yeah, they've had such crazy snow, which looks really pretty from the outside, but I'm sure she was like
I
over it.
always say I like the snow because I don't have to live in it.
I know. I'm sure visiting snow is so delightful.
It's
I
the
know.
best.
It's these moments where my mom has been missing. I know she does love visiting us in California. I know you do, Mom.
Oh, yeah.
And I know once now that she's got her power on, I'm sure the snow looks prettier now, Mom. But oh, Jordan, honey, what is your favorite childhood memory? Oh,
That's
my mom's
more.
asking. Okay, I have so many too, but actually, this isn't about show choir, but it is about musicals. I think one of my favorite memories as a kid is laying on this super hard wooden bed with my sister when I was Molly and she was Pepper and Annie. And we were listening to the overture. I love overtures of musicals. Like they make me
Oh,
so,
yeah.
and like the little like anticipation. And so I remember sitting behind the curtain before it opened, listening to the overture, sitting next to my sister, being in a musical that I loved, and laying on the bed that's it's supposed to look like a cozy bed, and it's just this hard plank of wood.
Yeah.
I think I remember I remember my little costume with little patches and stuff, my little orphan costume, and actually loved it. It was very cozy. And I remember laying on that hard bed and just listening to the overture and being like, and like kind of like I was 9 years old, but I was like, just like breathe it in. Like I somehow had some sense that I was like, this is like kind of magic. Like this is totally my favorite thing in the world. And I think I've always had a thing for like loving overtures and loving that like moment just before. And maybe that's also kind of my weirdo optimism, which is that I kind of have to remember that there can be a lot of stress and worry and anticipation and uncertainty, but I think that same little part of me is always like, something's about to begin, like that idea of just
Oh,
before
totally.
the curtain rises. So I think I love those moments in life too. So I don't know, that's one of my favorite childhood
That's a
memories.
great one.
Yeah,
That's a great one. I love that.
I always like, I don't know, for some reason that one, and like other little childhood shows, happy moments, but for some reason that has always been like, because I think for some weird reason I like understood at 9 that I was like, this feels important at this moment or something. I don't know. Like,
The wisdom of the musical theater, the theater, all
yes,
the theater ghosts. Just
yeah,
yes,
just being like, yes, just like infusing me with like the love and passion for what was going on. I don't know. It's like, yeah,
absolutely,
special. Made me
absolutely.
happy. Yes. And oh my gosh. Well, I'm trying to think what else I wanted to ask you. Is there, yeah. Now do you have any like pieces of advice or anything? I think you've already given some, but like for maybe, I don't know, if there was a kid like you who was thinking, like, do you think that there was a part of you when your mom was saying it and your friend was saying it that you actually wanted to do it, but was there another part of you that was like, I can't, it would be dumb?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I can like very vividly remember the kind of tug of war that was happening in my mind as far as wanting to do it. Cause, I did, like you said, I had my, one friend and my mom saying, you should do this. It'd be really fun for you. You already like to do this. Just go for it. And then kind of the, my apprehension as far as like, how is it going to look? What are my friends going to say? What are people going to think of? Like all those things that, in middle school is just
It
so
matters so much.
profound. I can't imagine, nowadays with social media and like what they deal with in that respect.
Right.
But for anyone, like if there was a kid like me that was kind of on the fence as far, not even doing show choir and music, but anything,
Yeah.
I would say that it's, kind of what we talked about is, if the thing makes you happy, why not try it? Why not choose to do it? I suppose the quote, hope for the best, prepare for the worst is a little bit apropos for that situation. Because like, yeah, maybe if you do it, it might not work out, but hey, at least you tried, and that's like commendable. You can pat yourself on the back for at least going for it, right?
Yeah.
So that's something I like to, in the last couple of years especially, I've always really tried to instill in a lot of my students is that when the opportunity is given to you, it doesn't hurt for you to just go for it, because it's better that you go for it and you try it and then not live in regret that, oh, I should have done this. I should have done that.
I could have tried that.
You could have tried this. You don't know what's just on the other side of that fence. So I say just jump into it and throw caution to the wind, and you might end up with it as your career.
I know. How about that, right? How crazy is that? And I know that even that is intimidating to someone who's still, because I mean, like you said, to a middle schooler, it's probably particularly horrible, but to us adults, we care so deeply what other people think still sometimes. It's just like, what will it look like? And it's like, it seems like the wonderful things of your life are perfect examples of, and I'm sure so many people have stories like this, just like if you start to try to look at something through someone else's eyes, which you can't because you don't really know what they think, that's like, that can take so much away from just seeing them like, through your own lens. I love that. And so, yeah, I think you're like, you know what, always err on the side of try it. Like the worst that can happen is like, no, never mind. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to do that.
Exactly. Like it doesn't hurt to try. It doesn't hurt to try.
It doesn't hurt to try. That's a good final message. Now, I was also wondering if there's anything you're reading or listening to or watching that you think that my Discover Me TV viewers, like now, hopefully they're either rediscovering and loving on you right now if they're watching you, or they're discovering you for the first time. Is there anybody else that you're really loving, an actor, an author, a musician, or anything? Anybody else you might like to hear about?
Yeah, I've been really into this Amazon Prime series called The Boys. I'm a big superhero guy. I'm like Marvel movies. Like saw Avengers Endgame like 3 times. I remember some of the kids watched it before I did. I was like crazy. Anyway, I don't know. The Boys just came out season 2. I love that show. It's a kind of not a spoof, but a different take on the superhero genre. It's a lot darker. It's a little bit more realistic, kind of in the times we're living in now with social media and corporations, everything. I just really like the kind of how they take the superhero genre and put it into something that feels a little bit more, I don't know, gritty and realistic, because it's just crazy. But that's kind of been my biggest obsession lately. Past that, I mean, I just would say, support, content creators in all sizes. I tried to start a YouTube channel in like a year ago for some things, and saw.
Subscribe to him then too. Yes.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel that I just post some random stuff on. But I would say, I like supporting the smaller creators and like I said, because they're working their butts off and all those things. So if you have a small, YouTuber or Twitch streamer or someone that you really, believe in, I say, subscribe to them and follow them and do all those things to help them out.
Yes, go all in, because I'm sure that makes such a difference to the person that you're supporting more than you always know, right? Like that person who goes like, somebody's like, I matter to some, like my stuff that I'm creating matters to somebody. Absolutely. I love that so much. And hopefully how much the wonderful stuff you've been creating matters to people. But it has definitely mattered to me. And to watch my kid and all those extraordinary students dance in your dances, and just to hear your energy and your passion, I love it. And I love hearing how it all began. And almost
it's my favorite story to tell, for sure. It's my favorite story to tell.
Well, I'm so happy to have heard it. Well, you are awesome, and actually, I'm going to do 2 interviews today, and today I'm also going to talk to Jordan Holt, who you've also
Yes.
choreographed many a time. I
Oh, I
know.
love Jordan.
So I know I'll be Jordan talking to Jordan in a few here.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm so excited, and I'm sure she'll have more fun stories about stuff that you have been so gloriously
Oh,
contributing.
I'm sure she's chock full of them. I like to think that I'm memorable when they're going through the program.
Oh, I know you are. I know you are. Oh, for sure. I mean, I at least in my little world, you are extremely memorable. Always. Thank you so much for talking to me. This is such a joy for me to get to have you on and to hear more about you and to get just, I don't know, more inspiration, more advice, which is always just useful right now, I think, at a time when it's easy to just kind of go, oh, everything's hard. And
Yes. Well, no, it's my pleasure. I like, doing all these things and hopefully putting out some positivity into the world. Someone can take it and run with it. But yeah, no, this is super fun. Let's do it again.
I appreciate you, supporting my little YouTube channel.
Yes.
I know. Anyone creating something that hopefully, my goal is just, like I just feel like I'm always just gathering interesting, wonderful, talented people. And it's like the playlist of my life. And I just want to share the playlist of my life with other people who also might. Because it's like, if you're feeling down, just, watching something extraordinary, like Brotherhood of Man, like us, watching something that just puts a smile on your face can just make a really big difference, I think. So
I agree.
yay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're awesome, and I really appreciate it. And I look forward to just seeing more of your stuff. And I cannot wait to see you and all those students live on stage before too long. And
me too. Well, yes, thank you. And I can't wait either.
Well, so they can be waiting for that curtain to open and
the overture and the anticipation, all of it.
Anticipation is building. So yes. Well, thank you, Sarah. You are awesome, and I really appreciate you talking to me.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you have a good one, and talk soon.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Em.